Hey friends, I'm at work right now. I showed up a bit early, so I figured I got a little bit of time here, something that I've been thinking about on my way over here. So anyway, what I want to talk about is programming and how we're programmed. We always watch these different motivational videos or read books, go to seminars or whatever, and we come out and we're just charged. We're ready to go. It's like, yes, this makes a lot of sense. I can do this. I got this. And then we start practicing it. And then after a couple of days or a few days, it's all forgotten. Things don't happen immediately. So I'm thinking back, a few years back, a movie came out called The Secret. And that seemed to make a lot of sense. A lot of people watched it. I watched it, I think, 6 times, and I thought it was amazing. I recommended it to a lot of friends and family, and everybody watched it, and they really liked it. It seemed to make a lot of sense, and it's called The Secret. So when you're done watching it, you really believe that this is it. This is all I have to do. It's the missing ingredient, the missing link. This is what's going to help me get through everything. And basically what it talked about is, we all know about visualization. It talks about visualizing what you really want. But the important thing, or the secret that was in this video, is that you need to attach an emotion to it. So, for example, let's say you won the lottery, you got all this money, and you can visualize that. You visualize all the things that you want to buy and all the things you want to do with this money. But in this video, it talks about attaching an emotion to it. How happy would you be? How would that feel? And really, really think about that and attach that emotion to that vision and revisit that as much as you can. Just repeat it. And a lot of people tried doing this, including myself, not so much with the lottery thing, but with other things. And I wasn't getting the result. So I also started learning a lot of things in other different ways about conditioning, and I got a vision or a dream. I don't remember which one it was, but I was questioning this, and the dream that I had was, my dreams come in like metaphors. Anyway, so 2 boys, imagine 2 boys, they're twin brothers, and they're born of the same biological parents, and they're split apart at birth. One of them is raised by a wealthy family, successful, and the other one is raised in the opposite, in a poverty type of a environment. Well, the rich one will grow up to be rich, and the poor one will grow up to be poor, and it's because of the way they're conditioned. When we're poor, we are taught that life is always going to be tough. Just get a job that you can tolerate or deal with. No matter what, you're not going to like what you're doing. You're just going to go to work, clock in, clock out, and next thing you know, you're going to finally retire. That's just the way it is. Accept it. You'll never really succeed at anything. It's only for the really, really wealthy people. We also associate wealthy people or wealth in general as something negative. So you're probably thinking, how is that? Well, even though if we're poor, we want the money, we need the money, we still consider people who are very, very wealthy as like filthy rich, maybe even filthy stinking rich. Those words are negative words, and we're conditioned to believe that. Back over to the wealthy child, the child's going to grow up who learns to be encouraged regularly, who learns that they could do whatever they set their mind to never ever give up. The only failure is when you give up on something. Just because you don't succeed doesn't mean you're failing. It's just a learning process. You learn from it and you try again and you keep on going, and you just keep doing that until you finally reach your goal. But they are taught and conditioned to believe never ever give up, and you could do anything you set your mind to. So this is why the rich one grows up and stays rich, and the poor one the opposite. And I'm just speaking generically here. This is just how the vision came to me. So it hit me, and I started thinking about all the things in my life, no matter what you're doing. Even like, let's just say you're training in some kind of martial art and you're learning some movements, and at first they feel awkward, and you keep practicing and practicing and practicing, and then eventually you get it. but you keep on going, and then your sensei or your coach or whatever keeps telling you do it again and again and again, and you don't understand why they're forcing you to keep doing it again and again. You're like, I've got this, I understand it, keep doing it anyway. And you keep on going, and then you realize once you get into a freestyle situation or a competitive situation, or God forbid a real life one, our body just reacts. We're not even thinking about what we're doing anymore. It just automatically happens. So what that means is we're conditioning our subconscious mind. Our subconscious mind controls everything. It even controls our breathing, our heartbeats. It controls everything in our life. And if we're conditioned to think a certain way, then our subconscious believes that that's the best thing for us. And it's going to make sure that we stay there. So I decided, okay, I was in a really, really bad way at this time. I was very negative. I hadn't smiled or laughed in I don't know how long. It was very, very bad, very negative. And I wanted to try brainwashing myself. That's really what it is brainwashing. So a song came out. That song is called Happy, I think, Pharrell Williams or something like that. I'm sure you know the song. That's not the kind of music that I was listening to. I grew up on hard rock, heavy metal, punk. I liked heavy, hard music. I never listened to the lyrics of songs. I just liked the sound of songs. But it turns out our subconscious mind pays attention to everything. It's listening to the lyrics. And if you hear the same thing repetitively for a long time, it conditions our mind. So if you're listening to a lot of negative or depressing or angry type music regularly, after at least a month of doing it regularly every day, then your brain is literally being conditioned by this music. So taking that into account, I'm listening to this song every morning. I decided every morning when I wake up, before I go anywhere, I'm going to listen to this song as many times as I can. So when I would go into the bathroom to take a shower and shave, and when I used to shave, anyway, get ready for work, I would have this song playing loudly and on repeat. It would be playing over and over again. So at first, it was not so hard to do. I made the conscious decision that I wanted to change and I wanted to feel better. So I was able to listen to it. And after a while, I started being able to repeat the words and even kind of sing along in my mind. And it got easier and easier. But after about 2 weeks, one morning I woke up and I was just repulsed by it. I turned it on and I was repulsed by it. I did not want to hear that song. I was thinking, what the hell am I doing? This is not the music I listen to. This is not who I am. And then it just hit me right there, right that moment. It hit me and I realized it's my subconscious. It's trying to protect me. It knows that this isn't how I am. It knows that this isn't how I've been programmed. And it's giving me the sensation of just disdain. I did not want to hear it. So I thought that, and I realized this is when I need to double down. I need to force myself even more. And so I played it anyway, and it played on repeat, and I couldn't stand it, but I would still sing along the words in my mind, and I kept forcing myself to do that. And throughout the day, I would do the same thing. I would try to repeat the lyrics of the song whenever I can think of it. Driving on the road or whatever, when I wasn't focused on work, then I was able to focus on this. And as frequently as possible, I would focus on the lyrics of this song about being happy. This was just an experiment, keep in mind. But I figured the result of it, if it works out, then it'll be a good one for me because I really needed it. Anyway, that lasted about a week. A week of forcing myself. This was my subconscious resisting and fighting this change. And I just kept forcing it and forcing it. And after about a week, it got a little bit easier. But it took over a month before it got to the point to where I really sincerely felt it and other people were noticing it. I started noticing I wasn't getting so upset about stupid little things, like if I was to drop something or bump into something or whatever. It would make me angry before I get triggered very easily. And I started realizing that things weren't bothering me so much anymore. And I was smiling a lot more. And I was sincerely happy. And that's when an older gentleman told me in my younger adult days, when I was really angry, he pulled me aside and just said, you know, when we smile, the world tends to smile back on us, and vice versa. So those words always stuck with me, but I never knew what they meant until this time. And then I started realizing that when I went into places, when I went into stores or gas stations or around people, when I had a sincere smile and it was coming from inside, it felt good. It changed everything. Everything just started changing. My life started getting a lot better. And the way the world smiles back on us is by giving us more reasons to feel that way. So if you're angry and grumpy all the time and that's the vibe you're putting out, the world's going to keep giving you more reasons to feel that way. It's about resonance and vibration. I'll go into that another time, but it's crucial. Anyway, I learned how to laugh and smile again, and that experiment, I kept doing it for about another 2 weeks, so it was a total of about 6 weeks of every single day doing it, and it worked. I brainwashed myself in a positive way, and I'll never go back to that negative mindset again. And I also realized about the different music, and I changed the style of music that I listened to. And it may not be the kind of music I'll listen with the stereo up and the windows down. And I mean, I'm older now. I don't care about that anymore anyway. But anyway, when I'm alone, when I'm listening to music, I'll listen to stuff that's more upbeat. If it's positive, that's great too. I listen to a lot of other different types of positive, uplifting music. But even without that, just regular different style of music that I never really liked in the past that now I really enjoy. I just wasn't mature enough to appreciate that kind of music back in those days. So anyway, I just wanted to go into the importance of conditioning. If you're going through anything negative, or if you're in a depression or anything, you're conditioned to be that way. You keep thinking about, well, what we do is we tend to think about our problems, and we focus on the problems every day. And we can go through some rough patches that last a long time, and especially if it lasts for over a month. We're literally brainwashing ourselves to think about reacting to these negative situations, and we usually do it in a negative way. So we're literally conditioning ourselves to do this. That can be changed. It can be changed, and we can make a conscious effort of it. It's easy to find motivational videos, motivational music. Maybe try a song or some type of a guided meditation if you have time for that. And do these every day before you even start your day. Before you even go outside into the world, get some happy, positive thoughts going. Before you even get out of bed, maybe think about 3 things to be thankful for. And there's always things to be thankful for. It may seem difficult at first. When we're looking at the world through shit goggles, everything looks like that. But when we force ourselves to think of 3 things to be thankful for, and there's a lot of things to be thankful for. If you're living, I learned this one thing. If you're a human and you're living in a home and you have electricity, you have running water, hot water, a private bathroom, carpeting, and conditioned air, heating and cooling, then you're in the top 20% of the richest human beings on the planet. Think about that. It's hard to believe. We take so much for granted, but that's something to be thankful for. It could be worse. You could be living in a place with dirt floors, or you have to go hike with some empty buckets to collect water on a regular basis. There's so many different things that we take for granted. So that's one thing to be thankful for. Be thankful we're alive. Be thankful for our health. And every day when we do this, every morning before even leaving bed, it literally gets easier every day. It seems difficult at first, but it's only 3 things you have to come up with, and they have to be 3 new things. And then try to think about those 3 things as you're going about your day. But anyway, that really helps. So think of 3 things before you get out of bed, and then maybe turn on some music, pick a song. I would say maybe pick one single song if you can. It's easier for our subconscious to really pick up on that, I think. But it could be other songs as long as it has the same message. And literally repeat it over and over and over and over again. Let it play on repeat over and over again. When you're driving, try to sing along with it, and really focus on that feeling. And then when you find yourself in a position where all of a sudden you don't like it, you don't want to hear it anymore, you're all of a sudden you just wake up and you're in a bad mood and you don't want to do it, realize right then and there it's working. It's working. Your subconscious is fighting it. At first, the first couple of weeks, it just lets you, yeah, okay, go ahead, do what you're going to do, get it out of your system. We know you're going to come right back to this again anyway. But after a couple of weeks, it starts to realize, okay, this is serious. This isn't what we're programmed to do. I'm going to resist. So force yourself even more, and keep forcing it every single day, as many times a day as possible. The more you repeat it throughout the day, every day, the faster and the deeper this new conditioning will happen. But I believe that this is the key. This is the main. This should be the true secret of how things work out. Your subconscious, and I've heard people talk about it, but I never heard anyone go into specific details like I just did. But thinking about this, think of other things you've done throughout your life where it's true. It becomes a part of you. Even back to learning how to drive, learning how to ride a motorcycle, whatever. You have to coordinate things, and it's a little uncomfortable at first, but after a while of doing it repeatedly, it becomes second nature to you. And next thing, you can do other things. You can multitask while you're driving. You can talk on the phone. I've seen women doing their makeup while they're driving. Anyway, I'm not advocating that. I'm not saying that's a good thing to do. I'm just trying to illustrate the fact or the point that once we're conditioned to something, once our subconscious can take over, it does. So if we're just in a negative way, it's because we're conditioned to be that way. We just didn't realize that we got ourselves there. But realizing is the first step in fixing things. And then you could take measures to work it out, and you could literally condition yourself to a happy life and a successful life. So anyway, please, if you have any questions, comments, please put them down below. I got to get to work here. So thank you so much for listening and watching, and have an awesome day. We'll see you. Until next time. Bye now.